Hello everyone, I am Luke, and welcome to the 125th battle of the Promethean Directive Season 2, where we have the 1st Grand Fleet and 2nd and 3rd Cruiser Divisions from FedCom of Miram here up against the Fist of Family Values and the newly built capital, Mayami, of the glorious Republic of Tehuapec. We are once again in a pretty big battle, but because they're all ships, mostly, it runs nice and fast. This one will, as typical for large battles, be pretty hard to keep track of, so I'll do my best. Also worth noting, so Tehuapec has some underwater torpedo launchers called Urchins, and they also have a fleet that was built this turn, and therefore, out of fairness, since it was built impractically late, it was built like the same turn these guys were arriving. They're going to start the battle for about 30 seconds or a minute with their AIs and movement off. Although despite AIs and movement off, some of them are in fact moving, which is impressive. Well done to this guy. But yeah, so that's the situation. Pretty shortly, they will get fully enabled, and this will be a fair fight to continue. We're back with these big walls that we saw in the Bale capital, or in the fight against Bale, as well as the small defenses, but the Urchins are new. They were cooked specifically for this battle. These big guys back here were meant to be brought into the big battle last turn, but didn't have time to get built because they were tried to get moved the same turn they were made, which is a no-no. But now that some time has passed and damage started getting dealt, I would say that we are in a good place to turn the AIs back on. And let us now see what these defending ships can do. These kind we have seen before. They're the Cram battle cruisers. There's also one itsy bitsy mortar cruiser looking guy. But the big guys at the back, as mentioned before, are new. They are big Cram spammers, reminiscent of something like a bulwark or a stronghold, with the torpedoes to match. None on the sides, though. But these guys have already started to take a pretty good beating. Looks like largely from torpedoes. I zoomed out as if I'd be able to see something. So far, the attacking cruisers are mostly doing good. We do have one of them on 81%, though, and that's the Balmung. Let's see if I can find him. Oh yeah, it's taken a pretty good beating from all the Crams. One of these guys, I believe the Belka, correct me in the text chat if I'm wrong, is set to retreat if it hits 65. But so far the lines of battle are mixing. This will surely result in 0 collisions, guys. Now this is a proper line of battle. Is he going to manage to avoid? Or is he just going to clip the stern? Oh, smoothest sailing. Barely avoided. And it looks like... I think these guys are going to sideswipe. He's turning. If you didn't turn, you'd be fine. Ooh, that's a good chunk out of both of them. Oh, and speaking of more collisions, these guys are also seeing how well they can do. Pretty good chunk off both of them. So far, FedCom have avoided it, but I would suspect that we're going to get close with the Kronhaven and the Balmung, unless the Balmung dies very soon, which it very well might. It's looking in pretty bad shape, although the Kronhaven may manage to tank some of the shots it would otherwise take. The Belka, meanwhile, the partly missile cruiser is still doing pretty good. 97%, but it is eating some torps. Let's see how bad those guys are. Decent chunk, but it's not going to kill you too quickly. But a big salvo of them, I bet, can. We'll have to see where those ones end up. Guys. Okay. First of all. Gonna avoid sideswiping, but secondly, there's no way this does... Wait. It may be fast enough. It is going to be fast enough. Okay. It may just manage to ram this guy, though. It may turn off. I bet there's a pretty solid chance of them sideswiping, though. In the meantime, let's see what these torpedoes can do when you get a nice big salvo of them. Well, apparently they can send that torpedo up into the air. So this guy started above 92% health before the salvo started landing. And I'm guessing he's going to finish at like 80. Because that's a lot of torpedoes. Yeah, 86 and still another half dozen to land. That's pretty brutal. I think maybe the most important things to watch out for, though, are these heralds to see how they're doing. 84 and 91. Now, I think the nice thing about Tehuapec's position here is that even if their ships go down, these grand walls has some pretty crazy doom crams that can score some critical hits or just do massive damage. So as long as the ships can last long enough to attrit the cruisers, then they stand a chance of winning this.
Luke, can you turn off Belka's AI? I think she's about to run the land.
Yeah, let's see. Where is Belka? Yep, Belka is on retreat. Oh yeah, she's at 80%. So Belka here is starting to get lower on less than 80% and is at risk of hitting the land, so she has been set to retreat. Ooh, that's all the missiles, or all the APS dead, at least the big ones. And that is a massive amount of subsurface damage. Those torpedoes are eating her alive. I don't think she makes it out of this one, even with the retreat order issued.
Oh, she's turning the wrong way.
Yeah. You know, if she
Well,
beaches,
she's gonna
she
beat
can't
herself.
sink.
Yeah.
And she'll be immune to the torpedoes, too. Kronhaven here is also looking pretty bad. Forward turrets have been killed. Aft ones are not looking super great. But she is at least on top of the line of torpedo urchins, which will give her some protection from those. And the Weissenfurt is getting possibly dangerously close to ramming, but we'll have to see. Oh, the Balmung is dead. Been eating a little bit too many crams and torpedoes. Meanwhile, over here, we are having a... this cruiser gets sandwiched between a couple Tehuapec battlecruisers that are probably hitting her without even trying. Target prio is so funny to me that people use settings that let this happen. Who would like to retreat?
The Federated Commonwealth.
see if the ones that don't have retreat condition can fight to save those that do. I think the urchins cooked. They have done a great job. Closest guy is at 2.2, and this guy isn't taking much fire, so if he wishes to retreat, he could. And I believe the Port Argent is one that I can't give an order to. And I have. He just isn't super keen on it. The Herald of Liberties are 75 and 86. Cronhaven is soon to perish before a massive quantity of cram fire. Ooh, and the Aviors and Darastrix are beached. Okay, and the balloon isn't trying to retreat. Let me go ahead and let the Port d'Argent escape, because it is at an acceptable range and taking a minimum of fire to be allowed to do so. But I'm not sure any of the other ships are going to be able to get out of range. Because you've got two of them beached over here, one of those severely damaged, these guys, one pretty damaged, and these guys, two of them are decently damaged.
The entirety of Camelon is beached.
Yeah.
Two on one side and the other, they're on the other side.
Yep. Best thing to hope for now is some ramming damage, but it's just going to miss. So this is like going to be the Tehuapec's first victory in a long time. Yeah. If they didn't have the ships, I think these urchins would have been a lot less effective. I don't know how good their torp interceptors are, though. Because if these guys are like constantly firing, that might be able to protect them from the relatively few torpedoes that FedCom brought in. But otherwise, most of the torpedoes just went after other ships instead of the urchins. Yeah, we got 4 ships beached here. The Neuenburgen is attempting to retreat, possibly. Nope, it's going the other way. Thought it was going to the south. Yeah, this one's pretty dire for FedCom. Nothing's going to manage to escape except for that one light cruiser. So it's just up to see how much battle or how much damage they can do in the meantime. Which, I mean, is pretty decent. They've seriously hurt some stuff like these Heralds of Liberty and some of the other Makuahois. I'll just leave the camera here for a second. Just reading through the chat to see how things went. Yeah, this is a big loss for FedCom for sure. And we'll see how it affects the overall war situation. I mean, we saw how these great walls performed. I think even without most of the ships, FedCom would have struggled. Because, like, the walls and the torpedo guys combined, like, all the defenses are nearly 2 mil. and even just a few ships to take some fire for a little while, or just relying on the fact that these grand walls are massive monoliths of stone, then you're going to have a lot of tankiness that ships can't reproduce. As the Honorable Horatio Nelson said, never attack a fort with a ship. I think it is something like that. Because what is a fort but a ship that can't sink? He's also known for such famous quotes as, never fight a land war in Asia, and don't get into a battle of wits with a Sicilian. This guy is looking pretty yikes, but is still fighting on and firing torpedoes. Good effort from the Neuenbergen. I mean, if it wasn't in the middle of 4 ships, I would say it had a chance to withdraw, since it's not taking all that much fire. But it is very severely surrounded and only 2 percentage points away from death. And it is taking some fire from this little guy here. Or at least it was. Oh, I bet this Grand Morge did it in. Yep, 55 and set a fire. Maybe she can manage to ram that that cruiser on her way out. Oh. You got it, Neuenbergen. Go for it. Keep turning. No, she's too slow. Taking a little bit too much damage. That one poor propeller just can't keep up fast enough to pull off a ram. Well fought. And I think that is the end, as the last of the beached cruisers become 2 damaged. Yep, that is it for this one. Big congratulations to Tehuapec, who pulled off a remarkable turnover in their odds in the war thus far. And big rip for FedCom. Hopefully they can bring in some more vessels or some coalition partners to see about getting things back to going. But otherwise, that is the end of this one. Maybe we'll get a white peace after this. Maybe it'll just keep dragging on into an infinite hyper war of death and suffering. But that much will be determined by the politics and not by this battle. So I'll end things here. Thank you all for watching.